So jumping on into this next game, it is going to be Armada Gaming Instinct versus GG Kids Haffy. And we have seen Haffy before in Season 1. He was on a different team. I can't remember the team name exactly, but I do remember him.
Yeah, I agree. And I was about to say the same thing, that we're seeing one of the Season 1 veterans, if you will, coming in. So hopefully that first season of experience will help him in Season 2. We do have a bio for Haffy. And he apparently started playing RTS when he was 12. Got StarCraft 2 when he was 15. He was into Brood War when that was out, and that led him to his interest in StarCraft 2. He got masters in StarCraft 2 and due to training in Brood War, and he was able to win the Sacramento Land Fest 2 years in a row in 2012 and 2013. We are happy to see him back once again in Season 2 of SC2CTL.
Absolutely. And once again, also, we want to say a big thanks to MythLogic for sponsoring the prize pool and other things for this season. They are pretty awesome. Follow them at MythLogic on Twitter, mythlogic.com, to check out their offerings. I am WingNetSC. You can follow me on Twitter at WingNetSC. And to my bottom, lower person here is my right hand, left hand, attached at the hip co-commentator, Gallegation. You can follow him as well.
Also, Gallegation.
And also at SC2CTL to keep appraised of all the happenings of SC2CTL, as we are just getting going. But speaking of getting going, game resumed. In the lower left-hand corner of Waystation, in the orange plating, it is Armada Gaming's Instinct. And
in the top right-hand corner, representing Good Game Kids in the red trunks, it is Haffy.
Another PvT, we've had one so far. Definitely a common thing we've seen is the Oracles and the Reapers on both sides. Advantages and disadvantages of both. Gallegation.
Well, you know, I do love the Reaper openings a lot of times. I mean, just the scouting that it gives you, and if you have the control for it, which all of these players at this level obviously do, you're going to be able to do a lot of harassment to the probes or whatever your opponent's workers are. And I like it too because, I mean, they can come out pretty quickly. They're not as robust as they used to be, but they do regenerate, which is great. And you're going to get them out quicker than your opponent's going to be getting those oracles out. So I think of the two, while the Oracle has more late game utility, I still think that I prefer the Reaper. And why don't you talk about the advantages and disadvantages of the Oracle?
Well, I feel like the Oracle is an advantage because it can do a lot of damage really fast, but not so much on the scouting because it can get in bad, dangerous positions much more easily. So they're kind of the inverse of each other, in my opinion. Reapers primarily for scouting than doing damage. Oracles primarily for doing damage with the perk of doing some scouting at the same time. There you have it.
Absolutely.
There is a probe scouting around his opponent's position. He popped down to the 5 o'clock-ish position there first, while Instinct is sending his SCV directly across the map. So a good guess there on his part. This also is a very huge map, too.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that is, I think that is neat about the way that Troy organizes this league is that he just comes up with some really interesting maps. We were able to partner up with some map makers this season who are providing us with some really neat content, and I'm just excited to see the games that we'll see. They're definitely not going to be your run-of-the-mill games.
Absolutely not. This probe is poking around in Instinct's base. Checking out that Reaper is there. Looks like he's going to be able to get that probe down, definitely, so that will put a stop to the scouting of Haffy. So now advantage Instinct, as he does have an SCV over there, and that Reaper's going to be heading across as well as the... Well, he went ahead and skipped the Zealot, going right for the Stalker, knowing what is probably coming his way.
And that Stalker is going to be able to chase away that Reaper unless he's able to kind of get some cute angles, which is possible on this map.
Yeah, there are quite a few entrance angles for that Reaper on the left and the right.
Mm-hmm. And sure enough, goes right around circumventing that Stalker, and Stalker's forced to play catch-up here.
And it looks like he's just stopping at one Stalker there with the Mothership Core coming on out. He is going to be able to hold back and make sure no damage is done. But as I said, these Reapers, especially since they heal up, he doesn't really care about doing that much damage, especially with one Reaper. He's just in to get the easy free scouts. And I mean, I think that really affects the game, makes the game a lot more... let me rephrase that. It was hard for Terran to scout pre this change with the Reaper.
Yeah, agreed. But Instinct is getting he's got his second base up already. He's got that bunker down, ready to defend, so he's got an early economic lead. It looked like Haffy was trying to put down a Nexus, but then he pulled it back.
Yeah, the Stargate is going down as well, and Instinct does know about it also, but it went ahead and canceled those two. What's up with those gateways? I didn't get a chance to click them to see what they were. Coming out with the Oracle, so right in his base. Interesting also because, as we said, he knows about it, but the Reaper coming up. Is he going to be able to get close enough? He is, to see the outline of that Oracle. Reapers are so stinking fast. Even if you have a Mothership Core and a Stalker, you can still just jet right on up there. So he's going to know that Oracle's on the way. His reaction is going to be a couple turrets and some Widow Mines. Pretty good straight-up defenses against that, as a Widow Mine would one-shot the Oracle.
And feeling fairly confident that he's got that taken care of. He's got a command center coming down as well, so he's going to be able to, if he doesn't move that out right away, he'll be able to mule down with that as well.
Yeah, definitely a good play for the Terran these days. A lot of them putting the third base in their main, converting that orbital command right away to use the mules. Oh, it looks like that Widow Mine is going to be... That's kind of an odd position there for that Widow Mine. I guess it does... stop that angle, but I feel like most players would take the attack angle that Haffy is doing, coming around the back. He's going to have a little bit of space here outside the range of that turret, but accidentally clicks the refinery a little bit. Does kill one worker and does damage to two more. So not a lot done there. Another Oracle coming up the top side. Not really much mining going on at the natural expansion here to stop.
So Haffy trying to do some containment here with these Oracles, trying to get his tech up in the meantime. Got a robotics facility going down now, putting down two more gateways as well.
I'm definitely not a Grandmaster League player, but my favorite play is similar to what Haffy's doing here with the Oracles and the Stargates, and then just going right into Twilight, Storm, Archon, Colossus. You don't really see that as much, I don't think, though, but that second Oracle is trying to get a couple of pot shots in on that Widow Mine before it burrows, but is still getting quite a bit of scouting done here. Not a lot of damage.
He's really taking advantage of those. He's just kind of skating through things that can hit that Oracle, and that's just good control there and good map awareness of where his opponent's units are. That's really critical when you've got these expensive but kind of squishy units that have a lot of utility if you know how to use them. Right.
Third base coming down now from Haffy as well, so he's going to go ahead and take the macro route. I like this play. I like what he's doing. Putting down that Nexus, getting some forage up for upgrades, getting the Observer out of their robotics for some scouting. But we do see a armory coming down from Instinct, so what do you think is going to be coming out of here besides mech upgrades? I haven't seen a lot of Thors lately.
No, you haven't, and I'm not sure if we're going to even see him in this game, though. I'm not going to make my prediction in that direction. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, that armory is required for some of the neat mech upgrades for I believe it's required for the Widow Mine, the fast burrowing, and all that kind of stuff. So I think I'm gonna agree with you and think we're just gonna see some utility upgrades here.
Yeah.
But Marines shoving away that Oracle, so the longer that Instinct stays on two bases and Haffy is allowed to pretty much do what he wants here, Instinct not really able to put a whole lot of pressure on him with the threat of this Oracle hanging around still.
And he's putting down another missile turret right next to kind of where he's been trying to get in, so that is going to prevent some of this difficulty that he's been having with it and allow him to move out.
So we see Vikings coming out for Instinct, and I think this is a blind reaction to the potential of Colossus. Is really the only thing I've seen. I mean, he has seen the Oracles, and that could be also just a utility to kind of shove them away for good. But we have seen a lot when the Protoss goes for this kind of opening to follow it up with Colossus, and it's certainly common against Terran, but with Haffy going towards the Twilight Council route, I do like that.
With those 2 Vikings for now, not having any more following up, but is making some medevacs, and that will be good to support those fire bats or hellbats that he's got there.
This is this would be an interestingly hard position for Haffy if Instinct was able to get out a number of medevacs and go around to do some dual or even triple prong drops, because they're so spread out. He does have 1 cannon at each one, but that mothership core can't be at every base. It can only be at 1. So the defense options, I mean, as you see him kind of moving back and forth a little bit up front, and what's the best place to defend here? But to combat that, it looks like he's putting down, he's got his Oracle kind of positioned here, putting down a pylon here so he can kind of see these side angles with anything coming in.
He does have kind of a tight enough enclosure here, and he's been keeping an eye on the army, so I don't think that he's really worried about drops so much, as just now are the first 2 medevacs coming out. He hasn't really had to worry about it up to this point. So I think it's good that he hasn't invested the infrastructure in defending against something that isn't really an impending threat.
Yeah, and also Instinct has decided to take this back island expansion, and to be honest, one of my favorite things in StarCraft 2 are island expansions. Although it does take quite a bit more actions to transfer your units back to those, since you have to utilize your medevacs to pick up your SCVs and drop them back there, and a lot harder to defend because you can't get your army back there. But now Haffy is going to know that's back there as he's taking fire from some missile turrets.
And those are a lot of missile turrets. You know, I feel like that's the only real way to defend these island expansions, is just kind of really flood the place with missile turrets. And I'm sure that we've all been in that like Bronze League game where the one guy is Terran and he has the one island expansion and just makes like 50 missile turrets.
Yeah.
I mean, this feels like the Grandmaster equivalent to that. You know, you've got 6 missile turrets on this one island trying to defend against every angle here.
Well, it's interesting too with Terran. I mean, as you save those expansions for late game, when you've got 3 and 4 bases elsewhere, you can almost just pop a command center down, mule it to maximum capacity, and mine it out in a matter. But it looks like Haffy's going to be moving across the map. Did not end up going with the Colossus, but Instinct kind of making the right choice here as he's producing ghosts 2 at a time. Does have the Archons, and I think he had some... I thought he had started to storm there for a minute, but I suppose not. But he's... Instinct is going to have a good number of ghosts here in this army. There are 2 Thors as well. So with good placed, well-placed EMPs, these Archons are going to be pretty useless. But it is all about the placement. He could have some good placement as well. But a Warp Prism coming in. Warp in of 10 Zealots. So here comes the big push. 10 Zealots from the north, rest of the army from the south.
And if Instinct isn't careful, he's going to get himself pincered here. But unfortunately, it looks like Happy's army engaged a little bit too quickly on the north. Instinct hitting on both sides, but the North Army has been defeated, so now he's be able to turn around and focus everything on the Immortals on the back end side. And looks like some Zealots are being warped in here to try and do some additional damage, and the Immortals are moving forward, able to clean up a lot of that. Instinct is forced to regroup in the back, and some lift-up play there.
That was a really fantastic engagement for Haffy. I mean, there was a money EMP that went down on his army, but as you can see, all the Immortals are still just now beginning to regenerate their shields. But because those Archons and those Zealots were in front of the Immortals, they didn't even take any damage after the EMP hit. Mm-hmm. And also, all of the mech units of Instinct were at the rear of his army, which is where the Immortals came up from. So definitely positioning in favor of Haffy for that engagement. So now where do we go? Haffy does have a 4th base down.
Instinct goes back home and tries to rethink how to deal with this situation that he's in, but looks like Haff moving forward, feels like he's smelling blood, feels good about that last engagement, and is going to try to continue to contain his opponent.
I think Instinct does have the start of a pretty good composition. I think the Hellbats are going to do good against those charged Zealots, at least for a little bit, but you know, he does have his +3 mech attack here now, but with Haffy going in and committing to his army, I mean, it could go either way, especially if he hasn't really made that many more ghosts. He has 2 left. Shield upgrades now coming down for Haffy as well, and more Vikings. So I think it really just still comes down to positioning, but Haffy's out expanding Instinct also.
That's true, but Instinct is playing this Terran Turtle style. He is mined out, pretty much mined out at his main here. So he's going to have to rethink that one pretty soon, but he's got those 3 bases that are going pretty well. And it looks like he's getting ready to expand here, but Haffy is right on top of it. He's got the Zealot right there, going to try and block.
And Haffy's moving out here with a Warp Prism full of Zealots, as well as Instinct moving down to take a couple expansions to the south. One Zealot is there, so he knows what's going on, but Army did follow Instinct, so it looks like, oh, here comes a big engagement from Haffy as well. Oh, Archon's taking a terrible route.
And those are going to get cleaned up without getting a whole lot done, unfortunately, and Haffy's going to have to pull back. That is not what you want to have happen. But, you know, if you're not careful with how you move...
Oh, if he's not careful, he's going to get himself pinched at this connect point here, which is exactly what's going to happen if they keep their armies on the same path. Oh, Instinct does stop. If he would have kept going, it's going to intersect their armies, and this is such a bad position for Haffy.
And sure enough, in they go. The siege tanks are not sieged. They're just opting for the quick shots, and now they're moving forward into that siege position. Archons are coming up from the back, but they didn't do any attacks, just got immediately obliterated, and the Immortals are running for their lives.
Yeah, those Immortals do not want to go up against that. That was a huge ball of Hellbats there, especially with all the Zealots and Zealot and Immortal army. There are a couple Tempests that are getting shot at by those Vikings. Now those tanks in a great position there.
And this is just absolute chaos. But it looks like Instinct is coming out ahead. The Vikings are taking out the Tempest. The Immortals are going down. The siege tanks are not being touched. The Zealots are being warped in. Do take down a Thor, but there's just so many tanks. And the Ghosts have so much energy. If any big ball gets put together here, they're going to be able to feed or EMP'd real quick.
Yeah, like I said before, I think Instinct had the right idea with his army composition. He just went ahead and increased the numbers of all of them, and it ended up working out in his favor. I really think it just went the way of Haffy in that first engagement because of poor positioning, but now Instinct really moving in for the jugular now, as the supplies are quite different. 130 for Haffy at 184 for Instinct. And these tanks are just so hard to get to with the units of Haffy right now. When they get sieged up in that position with those Hellbats in front, the Zealots can't get that charge back to them, and now they're just going to take free shots at this Nexus.
It looks like Instinct did leave his Ghosts and Medivacs behind there when he moved his army forward. The Ghosts do get cleaned up, but he's still got the Vikings, he's still got the tanks. The Medivacs aren't super useful in this army composition, but a few more Hellbats are moving in with a Thor to back it up. And, I mean, these Haffy Zealots are just not hacking it right now. They just don't have enough here.
Yeah, and the Tempest for Haffy not working out because he just doesn't have the numbers. These Vikings can shoo them away so easily. He does have 4 of them now, it looks like, but 4 Tempests and 3 Stalkers just aren't going to be able to do much against this. It's going to take a lot of damage from these Vikings, especially with the +3 upgrades they have.
Yeah, Instinct really went for those upgrades, and there's the GG well played coming from
GG well played indeed. So yeah, I feel like like I said, I feel like that first engagement just didn't go Instinct's way, and he was smart to pull back, regroup. Okay, I've got the right composition. I just need to rethink my positioning and rethink how I move out.
Yeah, and he really caught Haffy off guard there too when he made that second push out. Haffy, you know, the Archons were out of position. He was able to pick a few of those off, and then Haffy's running around the outside, trying to race back to his base. But, you know, Instinct was just able to get in between him and the base and took out the army before he was able to get back into a defensive position, which really went into his favor and continued to allow him to kind of roll through the rest of what was there. So, good game on both accounts, definitely back and forth. And now we are looking at, what is that now, 3-2?
Yep, it is 3-2 in favor of Armada. So Armada came out, got a bit of a lead, and we've kind of traded that back and forth throughout the process. But it does take a fourth win to wrap it up. So Armada going into a potential match point where GG Kids will have to come back and win 2 in a row to bring it home. We'll have to see if they can do it after this short commercial break. Stay with us.